And the reason I don't talk about it, if all, is because it's like, are you fucking kidding me?
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Did the exact same thing. I went in there with a mortar.
Check. Check one. Check. Check.
It was 1995, and I had this radical injury. It was two spines, two vertebrae. One was an extrusion and one was an intrusion. So one popped in and one popped out. The one that popped out, they're pretty normal, right? But the one that popped in broke off.
So like a spondylolisthesis?
No, it was a cervical intrusion. So it was just the disc matter bulged inward, not outward.
Yeah.
So it bulged inward and then it pinched and it broke off. So I've got this disc matter floating around my spinal cord and pushing against my spinal cord, which is a problem.
Prolapse, yeah.
Yeah. Not pushing on the nerve, but pushing on the entire bundle.
Yeah.
And it was bad. It was really bad. And so 2 years where my wife was like, she would have had it with me because I couldn't even lift my laundry basket. And, she's like, you need to figure this out. Like, we can't keep going this way. And I didn't want surgery. And then the doc, he was great. He was, good ortho, spinal ortho. He's like, look, it's time. We've done everything. I cannot do any more here for you. It's time for surgery. And I said, can you give me 30 days? I was just wrapping up my master's degree, or just somewhere in that range, right towards the end of my master's. And I thought to myself, what am I doing? I'm not doing any performance imagery. I'm not using my mind in any way. And there was this fringe thing called healing imagery, not really well understood. And I read a couple articles about it, and I don't even think they were scientific journals. There was a couple articles about what is this thing called healing imagery, and they were studying cancer patients. Do you remember this original research or writings about it? Yeah. And they asked them, what did you do? Because there was, a control group and an experimental group, and the experimental group said, I don't know, the control group did nothing over the course of X number of weeks. And the experimental group said, well, you told me to do healing imagery, and there was this theme that emerged that there was like Mickey Mouse hands, or there was dump trucks, or there was the hands of God, and it was this white light. And there was these themes that no instructions were given to these folks to do healing, other than do healing imagery X number of minutes for X number of days. And they had better results in cancer than the control group. And so I thought, I need to do that. And I couldn't see it disappear. So I used that spiritual framing. It was Mickey Mouse hands, but they were had the hands of God in there, the energy of God, if you will. And I could not see my intrusion go away. Now I'm blanking on am I getting the diagnosis right? Intrusion. Mm-hmm. I couldn't see it just disappear. I couldn't see it go away. So you can ask my wife, 17 minutes every night for about 30 days. I would see a wet clay. I would see this matter of my disc be like wet clay, and these Mickey Mouse hands fueled with this spiritual, you would call it this intelligent being or intelligence, take layers off it like clay, wet water on clay, and just take more off and more off and more off and more off until I could believe that over time it was reducing to a place that was non-existent. Probably 45 days later, I had a second MRI. The doc pops the screen up. This is before there's still screens, not like the digital now.
View box.
It was a view box. Bang, he puts it up and he goes, Mike, I don't know what to tell you, but how you doing? And I said, I'm okay. Nothing radically different. It's still kind of a burning between my shoulder blades. And he says, yeah, it looks like, I don't know, the body sometimes just eats up these things. And it looks like there's just a little bit of calcium that's built up there, but it's gone. So, I don't know what I would go. We could go in and do some surgery and poke around and maybe clean some stuff out. I said, no, thank you. So back fully functioning is very soon after that. I needed my mind to catch up with the image that I saw.
Yeah.
But my mind also was the one that allowed me to take these layers off every night.
Yeah.
And so I share that with you because if I ever in this conversation had more of like a tell me more, I really want to understand. I don't talk about this much. And the reason I don't talk about it, if all, is because it's like, are you fucking kidding me?
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Did the exact same thing. I went in there with a mortar. In my own convalescence from my injury, I did the exact same thing. Reconstructed every vertebrae, like with a mortar, like just make it all smooth. And I did. And if I was doing that and I was on, say, I broke T8, T9, T10, T11, T12, and L1. If I was on like T9 and I started thinking about, am I going to live in a wheelchair? I'd stop and start all over again because I was not.
That's exactly how I did it.
That I was not giving that intelligence. It is a consciousness that's giving us life, and I have to be present with it. I have to give it a very clear picture, and if it's polluted in any way, I would start all over. And I think the brain does not know the difference, really, at certain moments between what's real and what's imagining, and I think that, in effect, starts producing outcomes. So that's an example of truth. You're the example of truth. So when a person comes to our week-long retreat and they stand on the stage and they say, I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and I had a doctor, so I tried the chemo, I tried the radiation, I tried the surgeries, I tried the diet, I tried the drug trials, I tried everything that wasn't changing because I wasn't changing. And then they say, I have no evidence of cancer. It's a 4-minute-mile moment. It's like I'm looking at 2,000 people in an audience and everybody's leaning in because that is the example of truth up there. They're saying, I broke through a certain level of consciousness or unconsciousness, and the person in the audience invariably that has that similar condition sees that person. They don't look any more special than them, and their belief in possibility goes up. And I think people do the best with what they think is available. You got enough people together in the spirit of that, I think people become conscious of other possibilities. And just like an infection can spread amongst the community and create disease, health and wellness can become as infectious as disease in 7 days. So we did this study and we found out that we had all these people everybody had their own genotype, right? Their own particular gene expression based on their race, their culture, their family, whatever. And genes make proteins. And proteins are responsible for the structure and function of your body. The expression of proteins is the expression of life. At the end of 7 days, all these different genotypes, almost 80% of the collective were expressing the same genes and making the same proteins. Like, that's unheard of. So, people change people, but there was an emergent consciousness that was taking place, that was being reflected in people's biology. The herd, the flock, the tribe, the school of fish, everybody's evolving together in 7 days. So if you don't know that that's possible.
He said, Charlie, there's no cancer. There was nothing, was zero, absent.
That you could actually use imagery to heal some type of lesion, then you'll make the typical choice. But the fact that you do know that you have a hand in it, you could actually do something, I can do something to help my health. And it may not be in like a pill immediate. You got to put in the work. You got to put in the time, and you have to really understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. There can be no false hope.
Well, so this is why I didn't talk about it, because I didn't know exactly how it worked. And I didn't know. The medical professional said, oh, the body just ate it up. Maybe, sometimes it turns these things into a gas, and it just kind of, I thought, well, maybe, but I didn't tell him what I did. That was my information, but I didn't want to share it. One, because it was super fringe and it was way out there. I can get out there, and so I'm not too afraid of that. However, I didn't want to set up this condition in another person that I did it. Yeah. I'm pretty good at this. You could do it if you were just good enough, and then they go away and they're like, "Fuck, I still have cancer. I've still got, my back is still riddled." And I just felt like there was this unfair thing.
Yeah.
And so that's why I asked you about why you wanted to step forward, because I made a very different choice.
Yeah.
So why did you want to go down the research path? You could stay as a kind of a guru and have 12 of these a year, 2,000 folks, write some more books, and just have the honest experience that you're onto. And as soon as you're going down, I want to measure it.
When I saw people, like I saw that I was truly making a difference on some level in their life, that was the moment I didn't care. Like, I really didn't care about the academic who was sitting there judging me. He or she's gonna judge me anyway. I really don't care. Like, that's fine. I'm more interested in people who do want to learn. Those are the people that I'm after, right? So they can have their judgments about me and say all kinds of things, but I really don't care anymore. I really don't care. I know on some level, between the evidence that's taking place in human testimony, and there's enough, we have hundreds, if not thousands now, of people who have healed themselves, and we have amazing evidence in empirical scientific studies. Evidence is the loudest voice. And so chronic health conditions in themselves, just stay in the lane of convention, require a lifestyle change. And chronic health conditions make up 95% of all health conditions because of lifestyle, because of behaviors, because of choices. Okay, so a pharmaceutical may alleviate and give you some chemical balance, but if you're not physically balanced and you're not emotionally balanced, that's going to do very little. So teach a person then the structure of what it really means to change. People don't do the meditations in our work to heal. They do the meditations to change.
And what are you hoping that they change?
So that's just three things: the way they think, the way they act, and the way they feel. And how you think, how you act, and how you feel is called your personality. And your personality is intimately connected to your personal reality. So then let's unlearn the old personality that's 95% hardwired, conditioned, and habituated. And that's the hard work. That's the overcoming process. And then let's fire and wire new thoughts in our brain. What do I want to believe? A belief is just a thought I keep thinking over and over again. So let's, with intention, let's with attention, begin to install the hardware. Keep doing it. It becomes a software program. That's the new voice in your head. That's the new belief. I can. It's possible. That's my vision. Okay. A person who's healing from a health condition may have a good meditation in the morning, 45 minutes, hour, half hour, whatever, feel really in the zone. 12 minutes, feel really in the zone, yeah. But then spends the rest of their day, frustrated, impatient, angry, suffering, fearful. Okay, so 1 hour...
It does not work. It doesn't transpute.
It's not going to work. So let me mentally rehearse how I'm going to be in those circumstances. Now, you know this. The act of mental rehearsal. You close your eyes and you rehearse doing something, whether you're playing the piano or doing a sport or whatever. You know this extremely well. When you're truly present, the brain cannot distinguish between the actual event and what you're imagining. So what you're imagining becomes the experience, and the brain looks like you've been playing the piano for 5 days. It looks like you've been hitting a golf ball for the last week. The brain looks like you've already done it. Now, the brain's no longer a record of the past now. Now you're priming it as a map to the future. You're installing the hardware. Right. Keep doing it. You behave differently around your coworker. There's no magic here. You behave differently around your ex or whoever. You're changing, right? Now the changes be greater than your environment. To think, act, and feel differently in the same environment. Okay, now, can I stay in my heart? Can I feel an elevated emotion today, let me just bring up the feeling I want to feel today, and let me bring it up 100 times so I can bring it up on my own, right? So the word meditation then means to become familiar with. That's what it means. To become so familiar, so conscious of your unconscious self that you don't default and go unconscious in your waking day. That is a great day.